Yes, are all Michigan natives. They perform with Second City Detroit. Their comedy is now taking them all around the country and maybe the world, huh? They've got success and they're back in town, their hometown, tonight and into the weekend, having a lot of fun.
That's right. That includes Detroit's own Keegan-Michael Key, who you may recognize from his hit show on Comedy Central, Key and Peele. And this is the skit that went viral and now has nearly 90 million views. It's crazy.
Y'all feel me? Okay, let's take a roll here. Jay Quellen. Where's Jay Quellen at? No Jay Quellen here? Yeah.
Do you mean Jacqueline?
Okay, so that's how it's gonna be. Y'all wanna play? Okay then. I've got my eye on you, Jay Quellen.
Joining us now live in the studio, Keegan-Michael Key and 313 members, Marc, Evan Jackson, and Nancy Hayden. It's good to have you all here.
It's great to be home.
Yeah, isn't it great? So good to see you in the studio. So you come in, between you guys and Alexander, I mean, you're on fire already first thing in the morning. This makes our job so easy.
I know, man. That's Zonjic. He's like, he's fleet of fingers. Right?
That's it.
That's exactly the music he just
I just wanted to get that one rhythm.
So you guys are out in LA, but you've branded the improv troupe 313.
And it was Marc who branded it years ago. Wow. We were doing like our second or third show, and we were just backstage. And
it was a no-brainer.
It was a beautiful improvisational moment. Yeah.
We were all together at the Second City Detroit when it was at the Hockeytown Cafe at Woodward and Montcalm back in the late '90s.
Yeah.
And one by one, we've all moved out to Los Angeles. And fairly early on at the Second City Hollywood, they put us on the schedule and said, "We'd love for you to improvise to show our students what's possible." Wow. And they said, "Okay, so you've got Saturday nights at 8 for the next few months. What do we call you?" And Larry Campbell and Josh Funk and I looked at each other and said, "The 313."
Yeah,
named after the area code of the city because this is home for all of us.
Sure. So what is home exactly? Because we all say we're from the D, but home is different cities, right?
Yes. Well, I'm from Detroit. And I was raised as north as you can get, about 8 in Woodward. Yeah, I spent most of my life there. Yeah.
I grew up in Buffalo, New York, but I went to college in Grand Rapids, and then was living here. I moved here for the Second City, and was living in what we used to call the Cass Corridor, but is now Midtown.
Yes, I'm just
right. Yeah.
Very fancy name.
And I was born in Detroit as well. Go Mercy Hospital.
I
grew up in Grand Blanc, up by Flint, and then for the last 8 years before I moved out to LA, I was living in Ferndale.
Yeah.
Central to everything we do, from downtown up to Novi.
Very cool, very cool. So let's talk about your initiative that you started, and that is the 313 Troupe.
The 313 is our improv troupe in California. We perform all over. But together, a couple of years ago, we got together, I guess in 2011, and sat down and said, we each have such strong roots in Detroit, and we want to give back, and we all have, obviously, our roots in the arts. And realizing that arts funding was being cut, we decided to get together and form something called the Detroit Creativity Project, and we offer improv instruction free of charge in middle and high schools in Detroit. And improv has been such a meaningful thing for the three of us. It not only informs our work, but informs our lives. In order to improvise well, as you'll see in a little while, you've got to be positive and agree with what's going on. You have to have energy and be present, and you've got to work as a team.
So what does this do for the kids? Because we see you guys having so much fun, but what are you getting and what are they getting from you?
Well, I mean, I was one of the teachers for the first pilot program when Marc first started this. And we went into schools. The first schools that I went into were, first one was Western International, and then also Cass Tech, I think, that year. Yep. And it was amazing to see the energy from these kids. And, you start off by saying, hey, who wants to maybe be an actor? Maybe a few. And they say, hey, who wants to ever nail a job interview in their lifetimes? And you watch the eyes light up. And it really is about confidence building. It's about communication skills. I mean, improv changes everything. And we teach adult improvisers who are, attorneys and tax accountants and, all walks of life, and they say it makes me a better parent, it makes me a better spouse, it makes me a better person. It's just, it's a huge confidence builder, and it's a great skill to give the kids.
And something that's intrinsic to it is problem solving. So, there's skills that one has to have to continue to create the world that you're trying to make in a scene, and it requires problem solving. So to teach a young person problem solving at such a young age and have that become part of their own personal culture is invaluable.
This is was way deeper than I thought it would be.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
seriously,
Not
it
only
all
is-
makes
Oh
sense.
no, no,
It all
actually,
makes
yeah,
total
and we
sense.
make faces.
Yes.
There you go.
And we make fun.
Not only is it super duper fun, but it's really confidence building. It's really inspiring, and it can show you what's possible. It removes all fear.
Yeah.
You realize that you improvise every day, every time you walk into a store and don't know the person you're going to talk to. It's pretty remarkable, and it's a program that we collaborate with Y Arts at the YMCA of Metropolitan Detroit with our friend Margaret Edwardowski. They administer our program, and it's something we've been doing since 2012 now, and we've taught over 1,300 Detroit students to improvise.
That's so cool. So how much of your show is actually improv?
Well, actually, as the show progressed, more and more became improv.
Yeah.
So I'd say probably 30% of anything, but
Yeah.
and mostly because sometimes you feel like everything works out, but the second you get on set, things change, and then you go, that moment should, oh, well, let's just tweak this moment here, and then very often you're allowed, you're never afraid when a director goes, okay, one for you guys, one for you guys.
But we also use improvisation a lot in the writing process.
Well,
I mean,
yes,
you
we-
guys
yes,
sit
we-
around the writing
that's
room and
right,
riff
we-
ideas.
Sure.
That's all improv
Yes,
right
that's
there,
how we
too.
generate,
So
that's
it starts
exactly
as improv, and then you add more improv,
Improv,
in
right.
later when you're
Exactly,
you know,
exactly,
okay.
yeah, that's perfect.
So what was it like being the president's anger translator? How much of that was improv? Or was that just easy?
None of that was improv.
Okay.
Oh, no. I knew my lines and his lines.
Okay.
On that one, I had no room for error there.
Okay.
But the most remarkable thing about that experience was his skill set at being a straight man, which I was not expecting. And we had a wonderful rehearsal prior to the event, to the correspondence dinner, and he just handled it with so much aplomb and so much professionalism. He's a cool customer.
I
He
think
really
he's
is.
going places.
He has a future. He has a future ahead of him. He may have a future ahead of him.
So
yeah.
isn't there a rumor about a movie based on this character that got all the views?
Yes, we're on the substitute
on the
teacher.
yeah.
Yes, there is a substitute teacher movie in the works right
Wow.
now. Yeah,
More than a rumor.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
it is,
Not,
okay.
it's not a rumor. It is happening. It is
Okay,
happening.
cool.
Yes.
And your benefit is tonight?
That's right.
Marc?
Yes.
We are doing a big show at the Detroit Institute of Arts at the Detroit Film Theater this evening, and 313 is back home to perform. We're performing with a group called Rockomatic, and it's in celebration of the arts in Detroit and of improvisational techniques, and it's something that is in conjunction with 30 Americans, the exhibit that they're doing right now, which are paintings and sculpture and installations by 30 African-American artists.
It's an amazing
Keegan's
exhibit.
seen it already.
I've seen it, and it's a
Cool.
fantastically exciting and amazing and creative exhibit.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
All right, so we want to do a little something. We want to come back. We talked about improv. You
Yes.
ready?
Yes.
All right. This is something that we've been told even we can do. Toddy and I are going to have some fun with the guys coming up after this break. But